Okay, this section 4.3 is on similar shapes and scale drawings. A scale drawing is a proportional two-dimensional drawing of an object. Scale drawings can represent objects that are smaller or larger than the actual object. So on scale drawings, that would be like a blueprint of a house, because when you make a blueprint, your drawing is not the same size as your actual house. Okay, you have to scale it down, and there is a measurement that you use to where every side and every room is in proportion to each other. So a blueprint is an example. You may have model cars or model airplanes, those type of things. They're a representation of an actual object, but it is a smaller version. There's also times where you may have your drawing is larger than what the actual object is. That would be like if you were drawing a sail in science class. And when you look at it under the microscope, and then if you try to draw what it looks like, your drawing is bigger than the real object. So that's what a scale drawing is. It's where you draw something bigger or smaller than the actual object. The scale is a ratio between two sets of measurements. It shows how a dimension in a scale drawing is related to the actual object. So like if you were looking at a blueprint, or if you were talking about a map, 1 inch on your map could represent like 10 miles in real life. So you would have a measurement as 1 inch to 10 miles. This example says that 1 centimeter on your drawing represents 1 meter in real life. Now if it just has like 1 to 20, then you're using the same units. So this would be like 1 inch represents 20 inches in real life. So if it doesn't have the measurement there, then the two things that you're comparing are using the same unit. If it has different measurements, then you would write that on there after your numbers. Now this is not converting measurements. We're not trying to convert like inches to feet and those type of things. We'll do that later in the year, but that's not what we're doing right now. So if it's inches, then you're keeping it inches. If it's feet, you're keeping it feet, because the inches would be on the drawing and your feet would be like on your real object. So you're keeping those two things separate. You're just trying to find what the scale is or find the missing side. So let's look at a couple examples. The art class is planning to paint a mural on an outside wall. So they're going to paint this picture on the large wall. Now they're not going to just walk up there and start painting. They have it planned out. So this is what they've drawn on paper that they're going to then transfer onto the wall. So this is the scale that they are going to use. So for every 2 inches on this paper, they're going to make it 3 feet on the actual wall, on the mural. So this paper is 28 inches. The drawing on the paper is 28 inches, and the width is 11 inches. So I want to know, I need to find how many feet it is on the actual wall for the length, and how many feet it is on the actual wall for the width. And then the question asks me for the area. So once I find the actual length and the actual width, then I have to find the area of the rectangle, which area is length times width. So I would multiply them together. So I'm going to start off with my scale. This is giving me what the scale is that I'm going to use. So we're talking inches and feet on this one. So every 2 inches on the paper is 3 feet in real life on the wall. So now I'm going to use these two measurements. Now notice they're both inches, so I can't plug one of them on top and one of them on bottom. These are going to give me two different answers because I need to find how many feet the length would be on the wall and how many feet the width would be on the wall. So I actually have two problems here. One of them with 28 inches, and then I'm going to do another one with 11 inches. So this is going to be my length when I get my answer, and this is going to be my width. So we're drawing our proportions and solving it just like we've been doing. So to get from 2 to 28, that would be times 14. So 3 times 14 would be 42. So this would be 42 feet on the actual wall. Here, if I know what I'm multiplying 2 by to get 11, then that's what I want to do. If I can't figure it out, then I could go down to 1. So to get from 2 to 1, I would divide by 2. So I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom, and I would get 1.5. And then to go from 1 to 11, I would multiply by 11. So 1.5 times 11. One number to the right of the decimal point would be 16.5 feet. So then I'm going to plug that into my area formula. So I have 42 times 16.5. And if I multiplied that out, I would get 693. Now, when we're talking about area, this was the area, so it is feet squared. Now, make sure that you put the squared, after the feet. If you put 693 and then the 2, then that's going to be a wrong answer because you're telling me that the answer would be 693 times 693. And that's not what we want. It's the feet that are squared, not your 693. So make sure that you put the square after the feet. Okay, number 2, or the second example, you're going to work the exact same way, except after you find your 2 measurements, it says what is the perimeter. Remember, to find the perimeter, you would add all 4 sides, not just 2 of them. So after you convert them and find the answer in feet, then you're going to do 2 of the lengths plus 2 of the widths. And then the last example, it says the scale model of a building is 7 inches. The actual building is 175 meters. What scale was used to make the model? So on the first 2, they gave us the scale. On this one, they're looking for the scale. So we're talking about inches and we're talking about meters. So 7 inches is 175 meters. So this is my scale right there. But now if it can be simplified, then I definitely want to simplify. Now I'm not exactly sure what will go into 175, but I know the only thing that will go into 7 is 1 and 7 because it's prime. So I'm going to try dividing 175 by 7 because that's the only possible answer I could get. And it will go in there evenly. So that would give me 25 and 1. So my scale is 1 to 25, but remember my measurements are different. It's not the same unit. So 1 inch to 25 meters. That would be my scale.